We want to know how LUHYAs name their children. LUHYA generally name their children after events, after a visit by a VIP. For example, my father, LANDO, has a Luo name. I asked my father several times if he had any other name, and he told me he had only one name, LANDO. He got the name LANDO because Western Province and Nyanza Province used to be one district, which was called Nyanza. Nyanza in Luhya is lake. So my grandfather being a village elder, the African clerk who used to collect taxes was a Luo called LANDO. So he came and visited the village elder, who was KHWATENGE, and that is the day when my father was born, and he adopted a Luo name. So you find LUHYAs, one way of the LUHYAs naming names is when a VIP is going around. For example, if Donald Trump was visiting Bungoma, that day, all LUHYAs who are born in Western Kenya, if they are male, they would be called Donald Trump. If they are female, then they will be named after Donald Trump's wife. That is another way of LUHYA naming. I can also say LUHYA's name, you'll find that those of my age mates, we have a lot of them called Patrick Lumumba. They were born at the time when Patrick Lumumba of DRC was killed. We have a lot of LUHYA called Ngala. These were born during the time when Ronald Ngala had influence in Western Province during the early days. We have LUHYAs who are called Jomo, and so on and so on. Jomo were born in 1963 when Jomo Kenyatta became the Prime Minister. So one way of LUHYA naming names is by naming events or personalities who visited or even died at the time they were born. The second way LUHYAs are named, they are named after season. If you are born when there is locust, you are either called Wasike or Nasike. If you are born during drought, you are called you are called Simiyu or Nasimiyu. If you are born at the time when we have a lot of armyworms, then you are called Wahungu or Nahungu. If you are born during the planting season, you are called Nahumicha. Ohumicha means planting. But it is not that type of planting you have. Is that planting kama ile ya Bible. The planter who went akatupa plants huku. So in Kiluya, that type of planting is what used to happen. And if you are not planted, but if you are born during the rainy season, you'd be called Wafula or Nafula. That is being born during a season. But again, mostly LUHYAs are named after dead people. Priority is given to people who are related either to the father or the mother. Now, among Kikuyus, the first people to be named are on the father's side and then on the mother's side. But among Luhya, there is nothing wrong with being named from either. Or you can even be named after a non-relative. What happens is, especially the first child, that is why you hear the song, Mwana wa Mbedi, Nesi Hoero. It means that the eldest child is the pride of the family. Is the pride of the family. So when the first child is born, the child's mother and the sister to the child's father, shangazi ya mtoto. For example, my child is born, the eldest child. When Karidhi, my son, was born, KHWATENGE, my wife, took Karidhi, my son, to her mother. My stepsister, Hakasa, accompanied Mama Karidhi to her Vihiga home. That is what LUHYAs do with the eldest child. Then, my mother is the one who is to name my child. Now this child visits two grandmothers, visits the maternal grandmother, accompanied by two ladies, the child's mother and the sister to the father. Now in my case, my stepsister Hakasa accompanied Mama Karidhi to Vihiga County, where the child was shaved by his maternal grandmother. But as for naming, it is now the duty of my mother to name my eldest child. Of course, Karidhi was born when my mother had long died, and I named him after her father. So that is how I used a LUHYA tradition to name my child in the Kikuyu name, because you see, most of you are born of the same tribe, parents of the same tribe, but me, my two parents are, my father was a LUHYA, my mother was from Rigiji village. So that is how a child is named. And the name that is given to the child, the first child, is the work of the paternal grandmother. For example, my son, if my mother was alive, I would have taken Karidhi to her, and after I present my mother with a kuku, then she names my son or my child in whatever name she decides. If she decides to name the child after an event like the death of Patrick Lumumba or the independence Jomo, or since Ngala was the name in Western during that time, or Obama was visiting Kenya and a child was born and called Obama, it is the paternal grandmother who decides a name to name, and nobody. There is no court of appeal there. That name is final. So, viewers, this episode was one for how LUHYAs name their people. Thank you.